Welcome to FairGo, mate, Australians Against Corporate Corruption. My name is Mark McIver, and my partners and I have established this website as a platform to draw attention to the national problem of systemic corruption in our major banks, in our insolvency and legal profession, in the corporate world, and in our government regulator. The GFC wasn't simply a global financial crisis. It was a global fiduciary crisis. The word fiduciary is synonymous with the word trust. Trust in institutions worldwide and in the Australian financial services system has been decimated. Our reward for guaranteeing our major banks has been oppression, as the rights of our citizens have been routinely ignored, as the major banks simply profit at all costs. Banking and finance is the dumbest business on the planet, apart from insurance. I should know. I made $100 million from banking and finance in my 29-year career. In the space of one fateful year, my entire net worth and that of my family was decimated. I have suffered a financial death. I have been trampled underfoot by a dinosaur bank, smothered by a bureaucratic regulator, ripped apart by the fangs of a wolf and a fox, and left to be devoured by hyenas, rats, and reptiles. Not just me, my 1,400 aged citizens, many of whom were clients of mine for over 20 years. Not satisfied with taking all of my money, they also very purposefully and maliciously stole my reputation. In the last 5 years of the foot slog called the GFC, the tectonic plates of the financial world have shifted, and they did so very purposefully and for very sinister reasons. What happened to me was simply a microcosm of what has happened to hundreds of thousands of Australian citizens and families. Our major banks now greedily control and profit at the expense of our communities. They earned $22 billion a year. The G20 describes our banking system as a potential moral hazard and the most lucrative in the world. Our legal rights are routinely oppressed as our communities are bullied and are simply a market to plunder. Corporate greed infects our land, and corruption has become the ordinary course of business. From the travail of the last 18 months, I have discovered a writer within. I have penned a novella in the form of a biographical tale with a moral. It is called Strange Animals Come Down to Drink, a requiem of a financier and a stinging indictment of corporate corruption. The purpose of writing this story is to draw attention to the scale of the problem, to penetrate the reasons that lie behind it, and to dare to know the deeply sinister conspiracy that sits behind it. On the way, let's have some fun. I would like to share with you the secrets of making a whole bunch of money. I also would like us to solve the problems of our major bank monopoly, restructure the cheating insolvency profession, overcome the tyranny of time of our law firm rats on a wheel in our communities with our darling melting clocks. Let's try and wake up the bumbling bureaucrat, and let's root out the white-collar criminals on every street corner. As you can see, we're going to be quite busy, and I'd like this to be a very interactive process as you ask me questions and I answer them. At the same time, I would like to challenge you. I was living in comfort. I had made enough money for 7 generations of my family. We had a lovely big home on the river, a shiny granite office building, beachfront real estate, a host of other real estate, $76 million in a balance sheet, and more annual income than I could ever spend. However, I would not exchange the knowledge that I now have and what I have discovered for all of that. Australia is at a turning point in its history. The greed sickness that sought to control the world 70 years ago in World War II is now on the move. 1% of the world's population control 50% of the wealth. The power and incalculable wealth is now growing at an exponential rate. I was simply roadkill as the cogs in their financial machinery move inexorably into place to capture the other 50%. Australia will simply be a branch office in the South Pacific for this world financial empire. And our children's children will live in wage slavery. We must shout from the rooftops, wake up Australia, for danger is nigh.